morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Clap your hands, clap, clap, clap. Stomp your feet, stomp, stomp, stomp. Spin around, spin, spin, spin. Alright. Good morning, good morning, good morning. 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 Wash your hands.
Wash, wash, wash.
Shake your hands.
Shake, shake, shake.
Brush your teeth.
Brush, brush, brush. All right. Good morning. Happy Black Friday to everybody. What are y'all doing sitting home? That seems a little loud. What are y'all doing sitting home watching Uncle Lou? Shouldn't you be in line at Wally World? Why aren't you at Walmart? Hold on, let me turn the light on. Okay, that's a little bit better. Why aren't you at Walmart? Why aren't you at Target or Best Buy? What's the matter with you? Maybe you were one of those people that camped out there yesterday, and so you're done shopping now. I don't know. Anyway, I hope you guys had a great Thanksgiving. I did. It was a little bit of a slower Thanksgiving for Uncle Lou than usual, because usually we do like lunch with Mrs. Lou's family and then dinner with my family, but Mrs. Lou's family's out of town. She has a sister that lives in New York, and so her parents went to New York about a week ago, and they're staying up there for, I think, about another week. So we only had my parents to do. So we hung around here most of the day yesterday until around 1 o'clock, I guess. And then we headed over to my parents' house, and there was a bunch of people over there, and we did the traditional stuff: turkey and mashed potatoes and green bean casserole, and I fried a turkey. My dad did a baked turkey. I fried a turkey, so with 2 turkeys. All the desserts, all the other the same stuff y'all had, I'm sure. It was great. Watched some football yesterday. I actually watched more NFL football yesterday probably than I've watched all year combined. Because there was no college on until last night, and a lot of the people that were there, I guess, wanted to watch. Anyway, football was on the TV all day over at my dad's, so got to watch some NFL yesterday. The Egg Bowl, I watched most of the second half of the Egg Bowl, and man, what an idiot that guy. What's his name? Moore? Scores the game-tying touchdown, or what would have been the game-tying touchdown, with 4 seconds to go in the game. He catches a touchdown pass. Ole Miss, if you haven't seen it or you don't know, Ole Miss was down by 7. They got the ball back with about a minute to go. They drove the length of the field. There was some penalties. It was a crazy drive. Converted several third downs. I think they even converted a 4th down or 2 to keep the drive going. They get down to, I don't know, the 4 or 5 yard line or something. There's 4 seconds to go in the game, and Ole Miss throws a touchdown pass. Now, they were down by 7, okay? So they throw a touchdown pass. Touchdown, extra point, tie game, you go to overtime. The guy scores the damn touchdown. He gets hit as he's going into the end zone. So he's on the ground in the end zone. He gets up on all fours like a dog and lifts his leg in the end zone like he's peeing in the end zone. Of course, this was Ole Miss. They're playing Mississippi State, which is the Bulldogs. The referee penalized him for taunting or excessive celebration, whatever it is, right? So instead of it being an extra point from the 2.5 yard line, it was an extra point from the 20-something yard line, and they missed it. They missed the extra point. The kicker pushed it wide right by a couple of feet. So Ole Miss ended up losing the game 21-20. I feel bad for the guy that did. I mean, that's an obvious penalty. You have to call that. Now, I understand that some celebration should be allowed and stuff like that, but they're never going to allow any type of celebration like that that's that disrespectful and intended towards the other team. They're just not going to allow that. Running and jumping into your teammates' arms or whatever, stuff like that, waving to the crowd. They don't penalize that stuff anymore, but something like that, they're always going to penalize. I feel bad for the guy because he cost his team the game, but you got to know better. You got to know better in that situation. So, but anyway, and then the Falcons and Saints were on last night too, which I could care less about. And the Falcons were getting killed, but they scored a touchdown late in the game to make it like an 8-point game or a 9-point game or something. They attempted an onside kick. The Falcons did. This is crazy. They attempted it. Did any of you guys see the ending of the Falcons and Saints game? The Falcons score. I mean, they still have no chance to win, really. I think they were down by 9, so they would have needed 2 more scores still. But anyway, they attempted an onside kick, and they recovered it. Now, that's hard to do. I don't know the percentage on what amount of onside kicks are actually recovered, but it's not very high. It's a low percentage. They kicked the onside kick and recovered it. Well, of course, they were offsides, so, didn't count. Do-over, mulligan. They make them redo the onside kick. They recovered it again. The damn Falcons, one of the worst teams in the NFL and one of the worst teams in the history of the NFL, recovered 2 onside kicks in a row. Now, what's sad is that this occurred in a game where it didn't matter because, like I said, they were 2 scores behind. This would have been one thing. Say they scored a touchdown to pull within 3. That's when you really need to recover an onside kick, give yourself a chance to win. This was meaningless, and this just sort of sums up the Falcons' entire existence, doesn't it? If this was a meaningful game, a playoff game, or a game for first place in the division or something like that, and the Falcons were down by 3 and needed an extra point in that situation, would they recover it once? No, much less twice in a row. But in a meaningless game, where the onside kick didn't even matter because they were still 2 scores down, they recovered not 1, but 2 onside kicks in a row. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. Yeah, if they recovered 3, that's news to me. But I only saw the 1 and then the penalty. I didn't see 2 penalties. But anyway, the point is they recovered multiple onside kicks in a row, and that just pretty much sums up the entire existence of the Falcons. Does it not? Yes, it does. Shout out to the good people over at the Color Rush Podcast. They sponsor the morning show for the month of November. So is this their last week? This might be their last week. We need a new sponsor for the morning show. Hit me up. Literally anybody can sponsor the morning show. When you watch next week's nighttime shows, you will see for yourself that literally anybody or anything can sponsor one of these Uncle Lou shows or series of shows. Email me, crazyuncle@gmail.com, and you too can sponsor the show. Here's the schedule. Morning show we do every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 8 a.m. The Uncle Lou live show, the call-in shows, are Tuesday at 10, Thursday at 10, and Saturday morning at 9 a.m. We're doing a call-in show today, too, at 9. So we're going to do the regular morning show till about 8:45 or 8:50. Then I'm going to take about a 5-minute break. Then I'm going to start another live show, or we're going to do the call-in show from 9 to 10 because we have a full slate of games today. Full slate of games. But listen, go download this podcast. The links are in the description. It's a college football podcast, but they approach it in a sort of different way. It's 2 college kids that do it. One of them goes to Texas A&M. Sorry for your loss, sir. It is what it is. It's not personal, just business. Yep, Georgia had to put the whooping on you, which they did. Anyway, but these guys have helped me out. They sponsored the morning show as soon as I started this thing. It's hard to get sponsors for the show anytime, but especially when you start something new and they came through. Let's repay the favor. They were good to me. Let's be good to them. You guys have some time this weekend. You're off work, out of school, whatever the case. Whether it's now or you come back to this video later, go down to the description in this video, and there are the links that will take you to this podcast. Give them a listen. It would mean a lot to me. I would appreciate it. So help them out and do that. And two. And also, what am I doing? I know what I'm doing. Full slate of games today. Here. What, you don't believe me? Here. The Egg Bowl. 21-20. What a shame. Sad, really. I don't know how excited you guys are about this slate of games today, but there are at least some meaningful games. Maybe not playoff implication type games, but like this first game they're giving us here at noon on ABC, Virginia Tech at Virginia. The winner of this game wins the division. So one of these teams will be getting bent over by Clemson next weekend in the ACC championship game. In-state rival. Virginia hasn't won this game in what seems like forever. It's got to be 10 or 12 years since Virginia has won this game. Virginia Tech has owned them lately. Virginia looked like the better team the first half of the season. Virginia Tech has looked like the better team the second half of the season. I think this has potential to be a good game. It's at Virginia. I picked Virginia to pull off the upset here, but I think this will be a close game. Texas Tech at Texas means absolutely nothing. Texas is back to losing 5 games. The only point in really paying attention to this game is, of course, the point and laugh factor that you get if Texas somehow loses again and finishes at 6-6, which would just be hilarious. I mean, it's hilarious anytime Texas loses. Shout out to Deep Barat, off-season trash talk champion of the world in his own head. Dude disappears as soon as Texas loses a game in September. What a shame. What an embarrassment. He's banned from the channel until next season. You can't show up here and run your mouth for 8 months in the offseason, be the loudest person here, and then as soon as your team loses, disappear like a fart in a windstorm. Doesn't work that way here. You run your mouth, you win, you show up and brag. You lose, you show up and take what's coming to you. That's the way it works. So, Deep Barat, we'll see you in August, sir, the end of August. Thank you for your time and your consideration. Iowa at Nebraska. Nebraska needs to win this game to get bowl eligible, and they need to find a way to do it. I don't know that they can. Iowa's a pretty good team. Going to be hard for Nebraska to go 5-7 again this year and then spend all offseason trying to convince people, including recruits, including me, including anyone else, that they're improving and heading in the right direction if they go 5-7 again. So it would be huge for Nebraska if they can win this game. I don't know if they can do it, though. Missouri at Arkansas. Is this Missouri's bowl game? I guess. How sad is that? Bowl game against Arkansas. Pitiful. Cincinnati at Memphis. Winner of this game is going to have a big leg up in the race to the New Year's Six for the group of 5 teams, aren't they? Yeah, they are. Both these teams sitting on 1 loss. The winner of this game should move up several spots in the poll. You guys know how it works, but at the end of the season, highest-ranked group of 5 team who won their conference gets an automatic bid to a New Year's Six bowl. Could be one of these 2 teams. Could it be Boise State? I don't know. They're kind of behind the 8 ball right now. Washington State at Washington. Unless you just love rivalry games or you're a fan of one of these 2 teams, can't imagine you'll be watching that one. 4 o'clock on Fox. West Virginia, TCU, App State, and Troy. So, there are some good games on at noon. And it might be worth watching the Cincinnati-Memphis game. So, I don't know. If I was you and you're planning on going shopping today, I would go shopping when this 3:30 game ends. I would go shopping about 7:30 tonight. Can't go shopping during any of these times here. Too much football to watch, which is way more important than Black Friday shopping. It's TYPER Troll Friday here on the channel. You guys know what that means. At least you should. Don't know if do or don't. But you should. It's TYPER Troll Friday. And I have a TYPER Troll lined up to call in. We'll see. Supposed to be calling in any minute now. You guys, I guess you guys know, every Friday we have a TYPER Troll from the comment section live as a guest on the show. And by TYPER Troll, I just mean anybody in the comment section that doesn't have a YouTube channel. So it's a term. TYPER Troll is a term of endearment. It's not a derogatory term. But here, somebody calling here. Let's see what we have. Yeah, good morning in that.
Good morning, Uncle Lou. Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family and everyone in the chat today.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving. Now, go ahead and introduce yourself to the people. It is Typer Troll Friday, and you are a Typer Troll. So introduce yourself to the people, and we'll get on with this amazing interview.
Okay, that'd be great. In the chat, my name is Tope Daddy. I got a profile picture of Rose Tico. Don't ask me how, but I do. And second, I'm Tom from Michigan, loyal Michigan fan, have been all my life, and go Blue.
Amazing. So Tom from Michigan or Tope Daddy in the comments section. This is getting awfully confusing here. People have two different troll names now. They have one troll name for the comment section and a different troll name when they call in, but such is the life of a Typer troll. Anyway, how was your Thanksgiving, sir?
It was great. Went over to the parents, had a great dinner, watched the Lions lose as usual. So what could be more Thanksgiving than that, you know?
What about Dallas and Buffalo? No,
I had stuff to do after the Lions game and kind of missed all the games. I wish I would have saw the Mississippi game, though, but other than that.
Yeah, that ended up being a good ending there. And the Dallas and Buffalo game was a weird one. I don't know how, maybe there's some people in the comment section that keep up with the NFL more than I do. Why the hell was Dallas favored in that game? Dallas was favored by 6.5 over Buffalo. Dallas is a 500 team. Buffalo's 9-3. I'm like, what? That was easy money. I don't normally bet the NFL, but shout out to my brother too, by the way, who reminded me yesterday at Thanksgiving. You might want to put some of that bet now money on Buffalo. The Lions favoring the wrong team. Buffalo should be a 6.5 point favorite. Turned out he was right. Uncle Lou put some money on the Bills yesterday at plus 6.5, and not only did they cover the 6.5, they actually won the game outright, and it wasn't that close. Now that doesn't really matter for our purposes, unless you're an Oklahoma fan, or a Bob Stoops fan. Because the rumor is Jason Garrett could be on the way out for the Dallas Cowboys, and that doesn't matter to college folks like us unless they start looking Lincoln Riley's direction, which is a possibility. I think Bob Stoops' possibility too. But anyway, that doesn't have anything to do with Typer Troll Tom from Michigan. Now, you're a Michigan Wolverines fan. I think it's safe to assume. That.
Yes, sir. That's correct. Yep.
Okay, and on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being not nervous at all about winning or losing tomorrow, and 10 being like super nervous. How nervous are you about the big game tomorrow at noon, Ohio State at Michigan?
I would say I'm about a 2 right now. I'd say there's some nerves there, but I just think this is the year the team turns it around. I mean, Shea Patterson seems to have found his play calling. That Gattis that we got from Alabama kind of got his stuff together. Harbaugh kind of took the reins a little bit. I mean, it's lining up. I mean, I just feel this is the year, and if the reports are true that Fields is a possible, game time decision, and he has to go out there in that cold with his hand and stuff, it's anyone's game,
Yeah. Now, it is his left hand, and he's right-handed, but true or false, you also thought last year was the year.
Oh, I did too, yeah. I'll be the first one to say it. We won into, I think, 4 or 5 point favorites,
Okay. And true or false, you also thought the year before that was the year.
Yeah, and I would say true to the last 7 years, the one when we got in 11 and the 7 years before that.
Right. So, but the 8th year could be the charm.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, what did Typer Troll Tom from Michigan do for Thanksgiving? Tell me again. Did you go out of town? Stay in town? Did you have people over to your house? Did you go over to someone's house? What did Typer Troll Tom from Michigan do?
Well, went over to my parents' house. Mom didn't feel like cooking a turkey this year, so Dad grilled up some New York strip steaks and had a great lunch. That was awesome.
That's amazing. Yeah, steaks is definitely better than ham or turkey, even though you're supposed to eat ham or turkey, though. You know that. I'm not telling you anything you don't know.
Exactly.
Right.
Plus, grilling on a 30-degree day. I mean, it's so Michigan. You know what I mean?
And since the stores opened yesterday at 6 p.m., you've either already been shopping, going to go shopping today, or not going shopping.
Not going shopping today.
Amazing. Now, is that because everyone is on the naughty list, or you just don't do Black Friday shopping?
Oh, I used to do Black Friday shopping a ton. I mean, like, back before they opened on, Thanksgiving Day, like they do at 4 or 5 in the afternoon. I used to go on Black Friday, like, when they all opened at 5 or 6 in the morning, just to watch the crowds. I'd maybe get
I agree with you. I talked a little bit about this the other day. The whole opening at 5 or 6 o'clock on Thanksgiving thing, to me, has ruined Black Friday. It's not the same anymore. I used to do the same thing. I used to like to go shopping on Black Friday. I thought it was fun. I would crowd watch, and I'd buy a few things here or there, whatever. But it was sort of like it was just a part of Thanksgiving. Like, you ate all day Thursday, you did your turkey coma thing and slept all night, and then you got up at 5 in the morning and you went and stood in line somewhere. That was just what you did, and that's just ruined now. With the greed of these retailers opening up at 4, 5, 6 o'clock on Thanksgiving, it's just ridiculous. Like, in my case, we don't eat until 5, 6 o'clock, so zero chance I'm going to stand in line at Wally World when I could be sitting at my dad's house eating turkey, which is what I was doing. So they just ruined it.
I totally agree. And, the worst part is, especially if, someone's got a family, they're going to cook or have dinner or whatnot, then you got to go to work at 5 o'clock to deal with a crowd. I mean, that's just rude, Right.
And just because I want to be honest, because I always am, after we left my dad's last night at 8 or 9 o'clock, whatever time it was, on the way home, we did stop at Target and then Walmart.
Nice.
But not really for any particular reason. We just, like you said, we used to go shopping every Black Friday was what we did, and that's ruined now. So we just sort of stopped on the way home just to say we went. We picked up a few things, but nothing major. And then when we got back home, though, now this is nuts. When we got back home at like 10:30, Mrs. Lou and Luann went back out. That's ridiculous. So
there you go. What can you say? It's Christmas time.
And I have a feeling I'm getting wrangled today. Mrs. Lou wants a new living room thing. Set, whatever, couch, whatever. And I guess someplace in town. Anyway, I might have to go. I'm trying to get out of it because there's football on, and I'm a very important person, and I have to watch that so I can report the season's over list accurately to you people every Sunday morning. So, but we'll see. But I may have to go to a furniture store for an hour or so later. That remains to be seen. Tom from Michigan, let me take a second and read a couple of super chats here, and then we'll get right back with you if that's okay.
Time, man.
Okay. Braves WS, thank you for the super chat, sir. He says, "Good morning, Uncle Lou. The Barn versus Bama, that's not fair. Versus the Woe Tods, the Iron Bowl, woo. And come one, come all to the dissection of the nerds in downtown Atlanta inside Pep Boys Stadium. Go Dogs, sick 'em." I think the Iron Bowl has potential to be a really good game, and I do think there is some potential for an upset. I don't know if I can pick Auburn to win outright because I just don't trust. I don't ever trust Gus Malzahn. Even when Gus Malzahn has a really good offense, it's hard to trust Gus Malzahn, and this year they don't have a really good offense. So I would imagine that Nick Saban's going to come up with a defensive plan that's good enough, even though they don't have a great defense this year, Alabama, to keep Auburn in check and find a way to win the game. But you never know. Mac Jones, Tua's out. We'll see. I think it has potential to be a good game, though. I'm disappointed that I can't watch that one. Of course, I'm going to the Georgia Tech game. It's at noon. So I will be now. I'll be able to listen to it on the ride home on the radio, but I won't be able to watch it. But I will be able to listen to it on the ride home. But that'll be a good one. Thank you for the super chat, Braves WS and Celine Driver. Good morning, sir. Hope both of you guys had a good Thanksgiving. He says, "Glad you survived frying a turkey. Tomorrow my Gators grade the criminals. That's all that road graded criminals. That's all that matters. Proving once again that we run this state." It would be a big surprise if Florida lost that game. It really would. Now, Florida State is better today than they were the day before they fired Willie Taggart. Of course, with that being addition by subtraction, getting rid of Willie Taggart made them a better team. That's been evident ever since they fired. I don't think they've lost a game since they fired Willie Taggart. Of course, he didn't know what he was doing. Not sure if I've mentioned that on this channel over the last 2 years, but turns out it's true. Didn't know what he was doing. You can add Kevin Sumlin to that list, too, and also out at Arizona. Remember when Khalil Tate was a Heisman contender 2 years ago? Yeah, me too. Barely, though. Kevin Sumlin gets there, and no one has heard the name Khalil Tate even mentioned in the same sentence with the word Heisman since until I just said it right now. What a shame. Anyway, what are your plans for the rest of the weekend, Tom from Michigan?
I'm going to obviously watch the game tomorrow and just make it a football weekend, really. I mean, I don't have to go back to work till Monday, so just soak it all in. I mean, what could be better? Rivalry week? I mean, this is just awesome with all the matchups and everything.
Yeah. Now, you're not going to the game, are you? Michigan, Ohio State?
No, I've been to it before, and
right
now, I mean, if you want to get tickets, you're looking at $200, $250 right now, you know. And
man, what a deal! It costs $200.
Oh,
it costs $200 down here to see Georgia play Arkansas State.
Oh, I know, and it's a great deal. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, I don't feel like going this year.
I hear, yeah, I don't blame you. I've lost a lot of my interest in going to games too over the last couple of years. I think it's a combination of doing the YouTube thing. I have a good time sitting out here watching all the games on Saturday and making the videos and that. And plus, the older I get, the less interested I am in sitting in either the heat or the cold or the rain or whatever. And I don't know. I still try to go to one game every year, and I've been to one game almost every single year I can think of, except for 2017. That's the last year in recent memory I can think of that I didn't go to a game. But I try to go to one a year, but I don't know. I don't enjoy it as much as I used to, so I don't blame you. Sit home, watch the game in the comfort of your own house or your mom's basement or your grandma's garage, whatever it is you have. And just enjoy all the games. That's what I tend to do too, and also.
And you know, kind of like you too, I'm a little bit older than you, and like I've been to every stadium in the Big Ten, you know, and for like an 8-year stretch from 2000 to 2008, I went to every Michigan bowl game. I mean, that's the best time to see a Michigan game is when they're playing someone out of the conference who's ranked, you know, a different city. I mean, it's just a different excitement the whole week leading up to it. It's a bunch of festivities and hanging out with other fans you know normally never get to see. I think that's a great time to go.
Now, what's your favorite or the best Michigan game you've ever seen in person that you've ever been to? Is there one that stands out?
Yeah, without a doubt. I went to 2004 when Michigan was playing Michigan State, and they were down 27-10 in the fourth quarter with 10 minutes left. And they scored 17 points, and Braylon Edwards just took that game over. I mean, he just literally manhandled it. And the game went to triple overtime, and Michigan pulled it out. It was like 45-37 or something like that. That was an amazing, amazing game.
Yeah. Now, if I polled 100 Michigan fans, how would they all say that Ohio State is a bigger rival than Michigan State? I know the majority would. Would they? Are there any people that consider anybody other than Ohio State to be Michigan's biggest rival?
Oh yeah, and if I could just speak for 1 second, like where I live at, I live on the west side of Michigan, so I'm an hour from Notre Dame's campus. I'm an hour from East Lansing's campus, and hour and a half from Michigan. So on the east side of this state where Detroit is, I mean, everyone's going to say Ohio State, but you come over to the west side, everyone's going to probably say State or Notre Dame. Or if you even go up north, a lot of people are going to say Wisconsin just because the UP borders up there. I mean, it's kind of like Georgia, you know how you say.
Yeah, same way.
South Carolina.
Yeah, same way down here. I think if you, I think the way I put it is probably the majority. In other words, over 50%. If you were to ask 100 random Georgia fans, probably over 50% would say Florida. But there would be a lot of other schools that filled in that remaining 50%. Like there's no clear second, and it's based on geography. Like for people that live near me, maybe it's South Carolina. If you live in Southwest Georgia, maybe it's Auburn. Maybe if you live in the mountains, it's Tennessee. If you live up north or something. So yeah, I get that completely. And I've wondered before if there was other schools that maybe looked at rivalries the same way based based on maybe where they live and proximity to other schools and stuff like that. So, but Ohio State is the biggest. Like, if you had to name one, it would be Ohio State, right? Like the majority consider that probably the biggest game. You think?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Without doubt, I'd say 65%. Ohio State, maybe 30% Michigan State, and the other 5% Notre Dame. That's
and
guess,
what makes the Michigan-Ohio State rivalry so great, like to somebody like me who doesn't care about either one of those teams, just likes college football. Both of those teams, generally speaking, are pretty good teams. Whether you're talking about this year, whether you're talking about over the last 10 years. I mean, like, we dog Michigan State because they haven't won the division or whatever, but it's not like they're winning 3 or 4 games a year. I'm just, generally speaking, over the history of college football, Michigan and Ohio State have both been pretty good teams. They play every year. They're in the same division. Now that we have, or they're in the same conference. Now that we have divisions, they're in the same division. They play every year. So it's just one of those games that, it's like, it's probably how you feel about Auburn and Alabama. Like, you're not an SEC guy or whatever, but if you're a college football fan, like, that's just a great game every year. Auburn, Alabama. And there's, Texas, Oklahoma, Georgia, Florida, whatever. There's just certain games that if you're a college football fan, no matter who or what team you're a fan of, there's certain games that you just, at the beginning of the year when you look at the schedule, you're like, okay, that'll be a good game at the end of the year, Michigan, Ohio State. So yeah, that's a big one every year.
Oh yeah.
Now, what are your thoughts in general on Jim Harbaugh?
Well, of course, I'm gonna say I'm a Michigan homer to begin with,
right?
So
Obviously,
it's slanted. But you go back to '86 when he was the starting quarterback at Michigan, and he guaranteed that Michigan would beat Ohio State in Columbus, and he did it. I mean, he went down there and beat them, and I mean, that's always going to have a soft spot in my heart for him. But you got to look, he's taken over from the Rich Rod era, then the Brady Hoke era, so you had 8 years of futility, if you want to call it that.
Right.
And he's built the team up. I mean, we're winning 9 games a year, maybe 10, maybe 8, but it's better than what it was, and he's getting the talent to come in. It wasn't a quick turnaround. And when he came in, Michigan was at their lowest point they could possibly be, and Ohio State was at their highest, because I think that was the year they won the college football playoffs, So, I mean, the gap's narrowed, and he's getting it there. I mean, to make it a rivalry again, if you want to say that, you're going to have to win 2 or 3 or 3 or 4 to get this thing back on course, you know what I mean? To get maybe recruits coming your way.
Right, and when you lose this many in a row, it becomes almost a mental disadvantage too for Michigan. I mean, because once you lose 3 or 4 games in a row to a team, then you end up in a situation where nobody on your team has ever beat that team. At most, a guy is out of school for 5 years, sometimes 6 years if they get a medical red shirt and a regular red shirt. But generally speaking, 4 or 5 years is the most any one player is out of school. So you go 4, 5, 6 years without beating a school, you find yourself in a spot where, like we saw this with Kentucky and Florida a lot. There was several years over the last 5 or 6 years where Kentucky should have beat Florida, but they just kept finding ways to give it away because it'd just been so long since they beat them. There was nobody on the team that ever beat Florida, and so as soon as that game would get close in the fourth quarter, you can almost see the thought bubble coming out over top of the Kentucky players' heads going, here we go again, we're not going to win. And you got Michigan and Ohio State, and Michigan is finding itself in that same sort of position. They've lost 7 or 8 years in a row, so nobody on the team has ever beat Ohio State. None of the coaches have beat Ohio State, because they've been there 3-4 years. So you got to get over that mental edge. Could that happen this year? It could. I gave you a hard time at the beginning with didn't you think that last year too? Michigan is hot right now. I mean, they're scoring a lot of points. The offense is clicking. The defense is always what it is. It's just hard for anybody, I think, that's not a Michigan fan to have much faith or to really go out on a limb and pick Michigan to win here, because we've just seen this so many times from Michigan. Now, obviously they're going to beat Ohio State again at some point, you know. And as hard as we are in Michigan, like I said a minute ago, they're not a bad team. They're a good team. I mean, it's not like Harbaugh's winning 5 games a year. I mean, he's generally speaking, he's winning 10-plus games. He's just losing the most important games, you know, every year, the ones that would win him the division or the ones against Ohio State. And he's got to get that turned around. Could it happen tomorrow? It could. But it's hard for an outsider like me to predict that to happen. I'm hoping for a good game. You know, I don't want to see a blowout like we saw last year, no matter who wins. When I watch a game like that, a rivalry game where, you know, I don't have a rooting interest. That's what I'm hoping for, is just a good game, close game.
Yeah, and you know, also too, you know, every school's going to go through like a 7 to 10 year slump somewhere in their history. You know, and where Michigan was 10 years ago to right now, I'd take it in a heartbeat. And he's got the team in a position that can do something. That's all I could ask for, really. You know.
Now, outside of college football, what would you say is your second favorite sport, or the sport that you spend the most time watching?
Oh, easily European soccer, without a doubt.
Oh, okay, you're a soccer fan. Okay, yeah, me too.
Yeah, I've been over to Europe several times to watch games and stuff like that.
Oh, wow.
Been.
So who's your team? Are you a Premier League guy or?
Yeah, Premier League, Chelsea, FC,
Okay.
Southwest London.
Yeah.
And if you want to be really truthful about it, the only thing that can come to soccer atmosphere in Europe is college football, and college football can't even touch it. I mean, they are freaking insane over there. I mean, it's some of the most passionate fans,
Yeah.
the biggest diehard bases. I mean, you know, we can say, yeah, I'm a Georgia fan, I'm a Michigan fan, but at the end of the day, I mean, we go home, maybe have a beer together. These people, if you're rivals or someone, you don't talk to them. I mean, you hate them with every ounce of your body. It's insane.
I've been to college basketball games. I've been to NFL games. I've been to Major League Baseball games. I've been to NBA games. I've been to NHL games. And I've been to college football games. And just like you said, nothing comes close to the passion, energy, and excitement you get at a college football game. None of the other stuff I named. I took my son to an Atlanta United game this past summer. I had no expectations really for what it would be. It blew my mind. And everyone knows the stories about the hooligans in Europe. I mean, they're insane, like you said. I took my son. This was a regular season. There was nothing special about this game. This was just a regular season MLS soccer game. It was the craziest thing I have ever seen.
Oh, yeah.
Period.
Great.
It was insane. And I don't know. I know you said you're a European soccer guy, so I don't know how much you keep up with the MLS or not. Of course, Atlanta United won the MLS Cup last year.
Yep.
Atlanta United has the 8th highest attendance of any soccer club in the world.
That's awesome.
That's amazing.
That's awesome to see. Yeah, from an American perspective.
Yeah.
I mean, you think back, because, you know, we're about the same age. You look back to the 80s, you know, soccer. I mean, you only saw it when the World Cup came around.
That was it.
Yeah, every 4 years.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, the only names the only soccer players I knew was Landon Donovan and Brandy Chastain.
Yeah, and maybe Pele because he was on the commercial.
Yeah,
you know?
Mia Hamm, you know, Hope Solo when the girls first started winning back 15, 20 years ago, whatever it was. And then the guys weren't great then, but they were way better than they are now. Our men's team now is a national embarrassment. There's two things right now that are the biggest national embarrassment to America that I've ever seen. One of them is the men's soccer team. The second one, I can't say what it is because it makes people really, really mad. But it's just a shame the state that the men's soccer team is in. I mean, they couldn't even qualify for the damn World Cup. That's pitiful. You know, that's like, you know, Georgia basketball. I say this about Georgia basketball. I don't expect Georgia basketball to win the SEC or be a top 10 team or a Final Four team. But if 68 teams are getting in the damn NCAA tournament, I expect Georgia to be one of those 68 teams, and every couple of years, maybe even win a game or two in the tournament. And that's what I expect from the men's soccer team. Nobody expects the men's soccer team to win the World Cup, but you better be qualifying to at least lose in the World Cup. If you're not even good enough to lose in the World Cup, you got serious issues. And it's frustrating. I've never been to a soccer game in Europe, but I didn't play soccer growing up and really didn't care that much about it. Like you were saying, I would watch the World Cup every year. That's the type of soccer fan I was. But Mrs. Lou is from, she was born in Germany, and we went there in 2005 for like 3 or 4 weeks. We did a vacation over there and stayed with a bunch of her family for like a month over there.
Nice.
Well, the World Cup was coming to Germany in 2006.
Oh, I remember.
I was there the end of 2005. So the World Cup was still 7 or 8 months away. Every store you went in was nothing but World Cup stuff. And so I ended up, as souvenirs, I bought a couple of things while I was over there. And so when the World Cup came around that following year, that's when I really started paying attention to soccer outside of just watching 3 or 4 men's games every 3 or 4 years when the World Cup came around. And I became a fan of international soccer. And I still don't really watch that much club soccer, European or American. But I watch all the international tournaments, not just the World Cup, the CONCACAF Cup, and all that stuff. Anything that's international, country versus country, I'll watch. I do watch some club soccer if it happens to be on TV, because my son is really big into soccer. He plays soccer. He knows all the players and what teams they play for in Europe and all that. I don't. And so he likes to watch it. So I do watch it on TV sometimes now because he wants to watch it. But I still consider myself mostly an international soccer fan more than a club soccer fan. But and you'll know about this, and unless you. I know enough to know this about soccer. And this is interesting. And I just sort of wonder if something like this could ever be incorporated into college football with the group of 5. But you know how it works in European club soccer, right? If you finish dead last in the league, tell the people what happens.
Get regulated.
Right.
The bottom. You got. When I try to explain this to my friends because they think I'm a soccer nerd, I explain it like this. Imagine baseball. You got Major League, AAA, AA, Single A, right? But instead of, one team owning the teams underneath them, they're all separate entities, right?
Right.
So the bottom 3 teams in Major League Baseball at the end of the year get demoted to AAA. The top 3 teams in AAA get promoted to Major League, and so on throughout the league.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
Now, imagine if you had now, this would never work in college football because of the tradition that's tied into teams and conferences and all that kind of stuff. But imagine if every year the highest 3-rated group of 5 teams somehow got promoted and added into whatever Power 5 conference they geographically aligned with. In other words, what if at the end of 2017, Central Florida got promoted to either the SEC or the ACC, and the worst team in the ACC or the SEC got demoted to the Sun Belt or whatever it is that Central Florida is in. That's how it works in European soccer. So it makes it interesting at the end of the year because the 2 worst teams or the 3 or 4 worst teams, they still have something to play for, even at the end of the year when they know they're not making any kind of tournament or playoff or winning any type of league. Because it could be, and you've seen this happen in European soccer, where the last game of a season will determine whether or not that team is able to stay in the quote-unquote big leagues or like you described it, get demoted for the following year to AAA. So it makes it real exciting at the end of these seasons to see which one of these teams are going to get sort of demoted to the B League, kind of.
Yeah, and I could just speak on that. Like, you come to the last week of the NFL football games, right? And let's say Detroit has to win the game to make the playoffs, and Green Bay plays at 4 o'clock, right? So if Detroit loses at 1, Green Bay knows they don't have to win, so they put all that scrub in, right? You know?
Yep.
But in the last day of the season for each league, there's 20 teams in the league, so you have 10 games. All 10 games start at 10 in the morning at the exact same time. They corrugate it. So basically, none of the teams can have an advantage. They all have to go for it. So I love that aspect. Even at halftime, when they come back to the second half, all the teams start at the same time, so no team can have an advantage of knowing, well, we don't have to win it. You have to go out and take it, you know?
Yeah. Braves WS, thank you for the super chat. Going to try to find you in Atlanta tomorrow. I'm sitting in section 121, so any of you guys that are going or I'm tailgating too. Rob, good morning, sir. I'm not exactly sure where that is. He emailed me where it's at, but I don't know enough off the top of my head to be able to tell you guys where I will be before the game. Best thing I can tell you to do is follow me on Twitter if you don't already, and I will try to tweet out exactly where I'm at when I'm up there. I'm going to leave here about 5 in the morning, so I'll probably get up around the stadium sometime between 8 and 9. It's about a 2-hour ride, but I'm stopping and catching a train, so it depends how that goes. So I'm planning on getting somewhere around the stadium between 8 and 9. But I'm sitting in section 121, so if you don't find me before the game and maybe you're looking for me at the game, that's the section I'll be in, 121. Hope to see a lot of you guys. There. All right, Typer Troll, Tom from Michigan. Any final words for us on your inaugural appearance here on Typer Troll Friday?
Well, I'd just like to say thank you for letting me have some time here, Uncle Lou. It was a pleasure. Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family. Happy Thanksgiving to all the other trolls out there. And hopefully everyone's team wins this weekend.
And except for Ohio State, right?
Oh, yeah, we can go that way, you know.
All right, Tom. Hey, I appreciate you coming on this morning. I know these morning shows take place at a ridiculous time, 8 a.m., and we'll see how long I'm able to continue to get people to actually get up and come on the show at 8 a.m., but so far, so good. I really appreciate you coming on. It was nice talking with you this morning. Hope we all learned something about Tom from Michigan, and we'll have you on. We'll have you on again.
That sounds good. Thanks a lot, Lou. Take care, guys.
You too. Thanks, Tom. Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family. Happy holidays. Happy Festivus. Kwanzaa, Maleli, Clicking and Mocking. I don't know. I don't speak Island. I don't speak Pineapple Woo. Does Tua celebrate Kalikimaka, you think? I don't know. Somebody in the comment section a minute ago said, I love comments that I know they're, someone I missed the name because it was a few minutes ago when I was talking, but it just struck me as funny. But somebody left a comment in there that said, all it said is Mac Jones is a game manager. And it just struck me as funny because I don't know if that's true or not. I have no idea. The guy's been a backup. I don't really know, but it's just funny because I know Alabama fans are going to read that and lose their mind. I wish I could have kept up with the comments because I'm sure that's what happened. No, he's not. He's just he's better than Tua or whatever. But whoever typed that, salute to you, sir, because you knew just by typing that, you knew what was going to happen. You guys remember a few years ago when it might have been 2017. Every single time I would mention Alabama, I wouldn't say anything good or bad about them. I'd just say who they were playing or something like that in one of the preview videos. But I kept referring to them as average. Like Alabama's playing such and such this week. They're this amount favorite. They'll probably win the game because whoever's not very good. I mean, yeah, Alabama's average, but they should still win this. And that was literally all I would say. Alabama fans lost their friggin' mind. They just would lose their mind every time I would call Alabama average. It just was so funny. And then this year, the same thing with their light show. You say anything about their light show, and they act like you drove over to their house and slapped their mother or something. Like they act like it's the most insulting thing they ever heard that you would actually say something bad about their light show. It's just the funniest thing. Oh, you're in 122? Well, yeah, you're right next to me then. Yeah, you're right next to me. I think I'm. Well, hold on. I'll tell you what. Can I tell you where I'm at? Hold on. Where am I? I know it's 121. Hold on. Where am I? Here we go. Where am I? 121 row 6. So if you want to hunt down Uncle Lou, 121 row 6. Celine Driver, thank you for the super chat, sir. So I have a channel, so I can't be a TYPER troll. You can still be a TYPER troll. You just can't come on Friday as a TYPER troll guest. You have to come on Monday or Wednesday, as clearly spelled out. As clearly spelled out in the crawl on the bottom of the screen right here. The instructions are clearly laid out. Anyone can be a guest. Monday and Wednesday, YouTube people. Friday, TYPER trolls. Yep. So you would fit into the aforementioned YouTuber category, sir. Just so you know. Braves WS, Bama Lights equal Big Lots, UJ Lights equal Callaway Garden. I couldn't agree more. I mean, Georgia's lights are just better than Alabama's. Listen, that has no effect on the football team or the game. It doesn't. Okay? Is Georgia better than Alabama this year? Yes. But it's not because we have a better light show. We're just a better team. Like, the reason your team is 5th and can't make the playoffs isn't because you have a crappy light show. It's because you've lost to every ranked team you played. So, you really shouldn't let the whole light show thing bother you that much. The Alabama fans shouldn't. It doesn't have any. I mean, you didn't lose to LSU because your light show sucks. You're not going to the Sugar Bowl because you have an embarrassing light show. So me talking about the light show really shouldn't trigger Alabama fans that much. But again, it is a little bit funny that it does. It just is. Hey, it's 8:53. Here's what I'm going to do, okay? Because like I've told you over and over again, even put it on the screen. I'm going to end this show, okay? As soon as I end this show, I'll start the 9 a.m. call-in show. But I'm going to go in. I'm going to pee. I'm going to refill my coffee. So I'll play some music for you guys. I'm going to end this show immediately, no music. Then I'll start the call-in show. I'll play music for a few minutes while I go inside and pee and refill my coffee. And then when I come back out, we'll turn the phone lines on, talk about the games coming up today in detail. I went over the schedule of games. earlier. I don't know if you joined us late, not sure what your problem is. Maybe just overslept, turkey coma being what it is. But I went over the games earlier, just, here's who's playing today, whatever. We'll talk about some of these games in detail. I'll see what you guys have to say about it. And then we'll do the call-in show from 9 to 10 because I won't be able to do the call-in show tomorrow because I'll be in Atlanta at the game. So going to end this show now. Appreciate you guys watching the morning show with Uncle Lou. Remember, we do this every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 8 a.m. So I know some of you work or have school, can't watch in the morning. But if this is your first time watching, I appreciate it. I know a lot of you are off for the holidays, so I appreciate you guys tuning in this morning. Big shout out to all you guys in the super chats. That's what keeps these shows going. So thank you. It really means a lot. All right, we're gonna end this show. I'll start the call-in show. Play music for a few minutes while I pee and get the coffee, and then we'll open up the phone lines and see what you guys have to say. Thank you.